So Nvidia's RTX 3000 GPUs, great GPUs, right? But that very sentence makes me extremely worried for the future of PC gaming. I'm going to tell you the top reasons why, and specifically something that Nvidia may be doing very soon, which really may mean the end of reasonable GPUs forever. So let's get started. Hey guys, Tiago with Classical Technology here. Remember to subscribe and smash that like button. We talk about building computers, PC hardware, of course, also GPUs and whatever's going on in the market. So let's talk about why I'm actually extremely worried about the future of PC building. I got into PC building a long time ago just because of the passion. It's so much fun to put together your PC and, of course, eventually play whatever game is out that's really cool. You want to see awesome graphics, and when things come out like the Nvidia RTX 3000 GPUs, it adds multiple layers of excitement because first, you're not only going to get to build a new rig, even if you're doing air cooled, if you're water cooling it, that's like a whole different step that really adds to the excitement, but you're going to get to see how much better this new GPU will perform on your favorite game or be able to handle the new games that are coming out. But times are really changing with not only all of the GPU pricing, availability, while Nvidia's RTX 3000 certainly brings with it awesome performance in most of the GPUs, especially the high-end ones, it also brings a new era of GPU scarcity and high pricing that we really have never seen before to this level, and that's why it really worries me for the future. So I'm going to tell you some of the top reasons why I'm most worried. So the first reason is going to be price. The price is really what is going to hurt sort of PC gaming and PC building in the future. Let me give you an example. I remember several years ago standing in the store, it was Micro Center. You can picture your own store or maybe even an online shop. And I was there sort of excruciatingly going through the details of two separate GPUs. I think at the time I was looking to get like a 5700 versus like a 5700 XT or something like that. So this is what gamers go through, and it was maybe like a $50 to $70 difference, not, a massive difference, but I was there for a good 20 to 30 minutes, looking stuff up on my phone, thinking, oh, should I really spend the extra 50 or 60 bucks in order to, get the GPU that's faster, or am I going to be okay with the one that's, a little bit slower, but the price is also better. Now, keep in mind, this was, way before any type of GPU shortage. It was after the first GPU shortage of 2017, so it was in between these two massive shortages. So prices back then were reasonable. These GPUs were like in the $300 range, so it wasn't the outrageous prices that are apparent today. But I remember that feeling, looking at a GPU and really figuring out the price to performance. That was really essential. I had other things to get for my build. I needed a CPU, I needed a case, a motherboard. I didn't really want to blow all of my budget getting the most expensive GPU if I could get something and save a little money that was going to pretty much perform more or less the same. What I figured out over time, while it's nice having something like a 3090, sometimes a 3060 or 3070, if you're playing a game at the right resolution and settings, you're probably not even going to notice a difference unless you have the little frame rate counter up there and you're really, really picky about what you're looking at. For the real world experience, for the price that you pay, often you really don't need as much GPU as you would want. So going back to that perspective, I remember sort of that feeling. Fast forward to today, and the prices are absolutely insane across the board. I'm not even talking about pricing on the scalper secondhand market. That's always been an issue when you have scarcity and things like that. Unfortunately, the manufacturers and the MSRP prices have also taken a very, very heavy toll out of any type of budget system. Now, what happens today, juxtapose that with me looking at two similar model GPUs for like a $50 difference. Sometimes now the same GPU, like in my video from the other day, the same GPU will have varying prices from day to day depending on availability or what the store feels like the MSRP should be like. There's no more sort of set in stone price. Maybe this is all due to inflation along with all of the manufacturing issues, and of course a lot of it is the third-party AIB partners frankly being a little bit greedy. Some of these prices are really unreasonable, as we've seen for some of the AMD GPUs especially, and some of the harder to find Nvidia GPUs. So now I think of the typical gamer that, has a certain budget in mind, that they have to still buy a case and a power supply and a CPU. Figure them standing at the same place, same store, or maybe online, they're browsing, they're trying to figure out the pricing between GPUs. Before, maybe you would try to figure out, oh, should I get a 3070 or a 3070 Ti? Is it going to be worth it, splurging a little bit extra? But now, not only is it going to come down to the exact GPU that you want, But if you had a budget, let's say a 3080 level budget of like, $1,000, or that you thought was going to fit a 3080, now you're going to get a much lower tier GPU for that same amount of money. You're going to get, if you're lucky, a 3070 Ti instead of a 3080, or a 6900 XT, which should have been $1,000. And if you're thinking that your budget was 1500, that's a really, really very high budget for GPUs. I remember years ago that used to be the Titan level GPUs. Now it seems like even 3070s on the secondhand market get up to that price. Absolutely ridiculous. So think of what this is doing to sort of just the gamer that wants to build a system. After all, even Nvidia and AMD say that the gaming market really is the target. Even though I think Nvidia says it a little bit more, AMD likes to keep it more agnostic. They're not targeting miners or the gamers necessarily. So keeping that in mind, think of the person that actually wants to build a system. They look at these prices. For $500, you're probably going to leave there with like a 1660 Ti or whatever the ridiculous GPU that's really low end and you're paying a high price is available at the time. You'd be very lucky if you even found a 6600 for $400 or $500, or any of the other very low end budget GPUs that are priced at a very, very high end price. So I really do feel bad for sort of the gamer trying to get into this market. And then the second reason that makes me really, really worried, and it's a little bit tied with the first, that's going to be, we don't know exactly what's going on, but some people speculate that Nvidia may be stopping the production of the Ampere GPUs, which is RTX 3000, because they've reached already some type of quota with Samsung. So they're basically sort of slowing down their production. Now, you may be asking, why would they ever do that if they're selling everything that they can make? Well, this market, even a very volatile market that's extremely hot right now, it does come with its dips. Nvidia has experienced a pretty bad dip with the cryptocurrency mining bust that happened after 2017. And after that, GPUs, flooded the market, and they even had to explain themselves to stockholders and things like that. So it's going to come down to that. That would only make sense if they have to sort of stretch out the profit that they're making. Let's say if they hit their margins that they're happy with for a certain quarter, maybe they have to stretch that out for an additional quarter. And a way to guarantee that is to really halt the production or have a lot less GPUs out on the market. That's just going to build up more pent-up demand. And when they start to release them again, the next quarter will also show good sales numbers. Because I guess the unpredictable factor here is, let's say if they sell everything that they have and go at 100% all of the time, what if the next quarter has some type of dip because of either crypto mining or something happens with the economy? That can all be very, very possible, and their profit numbers and everything that they've worked for to build up in terms of their share value and everything else is also gonna go down considerably more, rather than if they had sort of just stretched out the GPUs that they're selling. So that's sort of the theory here, which I guess it's good for Nvidia or for whatever plans they may have, but it would not be good for the general GPU market, because that just means that prices are going to remain high and high. And that's going to bring us to the third point I'm really worried, is that the next generation of GPUs, either be it the Super Series before an official RTX 4000 launches or something like that, you can bet because of the higher prices now, the scarcity, and maybe little weird maneuvers like, the production, changes and things like that. Even though, I'll say it again, I don't know if that's true. That's all just speculation. But even if that's not true, we still have higher pricing because of availability. The next generation of GPUs may outright just be way too expensive, and they may turn itself into purely almost like a luxury product, or for something that's going to be business use for like crypto mining. So that means that it would eliminate sort of, the casual gamers and, PC builders pretty much of most levels, aside from the more higher end enthusiasts who still will pay to play on these higher end GPUs. So that's something that's going to be very unfortunate, but we can see the trajectory of all of these GPUs that have come out after the RTX 3000, like the 3080 Ti, 3070 Ti, especially the third-party AIB partners. We can see that their prices have gone up more and more, and unfortunately, until maybe Intel enters the ring, and that's going to be another reason why the GPU market is definitely worrying me. The competition is a little bit funny. First, Nvidia was absolutely dominant for years. They can set their prices. People have sort of the mind share is set on Nvidia for the best gaming GPU. Okay, AMD came around and, they changed a little bit of that. Not a lot, but a little bit. With the new sort of, the 6900 XT, 6800 XT, very potent, powerful GPUs. They do great in traditional gaming, ray tracing, and sort of the resolution scaling like DLSS that Nvidia has. They have their versions, but they're not quite on the same level. But regardless, in traditional gaming, 1080p, 1440p, even 4K, if you leave ray tracing off, the AMD GPUs are actually highly competitive. But there's a huge issue that worries me here. They're competitive in sort of the performance, but they're not competitive in price at all. A lot of times I'll see the AMD GPUs priced the most ridiculous prices you can imagine, like $2,500 6900 XTs, $1,400 6800 XTs. At those prices, people of course are going to go to Nvidia, who has a longer history of, GPU and high-end performance. And then Intel will enter with their GPUs. Well, who knows exactly when it's going to come out. Hopefully by sometime next year, we'll have a more solid understanding of what Intel is going to bring to the table. But if these shortages continue, Intel may just be another version of AMD. But Intel coming into the market can really go either way. People have never really used discrete Intel GPUs, even if they've existed here or there in the past. So people are going to be looking at them like, all right, what do they have to offer? They're going to have to come in with really nice high performance at a really good price, and that price is going to have to beat AMD and Nvidia, even if we're still in the middle of a shortage. That's what I think AMD's mistake was. They could have really undercut Nvidia a little bit more if they priced their GPUs a little more aggressively within the scope of our shortage. We're not even talking about normal MSRP. If they could keep their prices low enough, at least so the GPUs sell out. When we walk into these stores and we see all of these overpriced AMD GPUs, nobody's buying them, so they're on the shelves, and that's not really creating a good sort of mind share. It's not good advertising for AMD because people are going to think nobody wants them. All right, guys, so these are some of my reasons why I'm worried for the PC building market going forward. Hopefully 2022 will at least show us not only better availability, but also better prices. It doesn't matter if the GPUs are there in stock. If nobody's buying them, that basically accomplishes almost the same thing as if they weren't there at all, because they're just going to sit on the shelves. All right, guys, so let me know what you think. Are you worried about the future of PC building? I know many people have held off on their builds, so this is actually a real problem that has happened already. It's not just speculation. People aren't building PCs. That's really the reality of it. So remember to subscribe for more content, more updates on this. Remember to like the video, and I'll see you guys on the next video.